Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the wrestling podcast, Getting Over. We are talking what is, I would say, one of my favourite premium live event. Still never going to get used to saying that. We are discussing this year's Royal Rumble 2025. We've got surprise entrants. We've got the matches that come before the Royal Rumbles, Ladies Royal Rumble, Men's Royal Rumble, surprise entrants, who's going to last the longest, most eliminated. It's all here. Everything you could possibly want from a Royal Rumble podcast / wrestling podcast, all right here. Don't go anywhere else for your wrestling. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review and share the podcast around. The biggest one on that list is share the podcast around. If you know somebody who enjoys the wrestling, send this podcast their way. It is the finest way to get all your wrestling news. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, Getting Over.
Hello. For those of you joining on YouTube, you will have noticed already, I've assumed the position in the office of, or the wall of champions as it is. So that could only mean one thing. It is time for Getting Over right here on CookieCast. Welcome on in, pull up that folding steel chair, rest your feet on the announcer's desk, and let's dove straight into the world of WWE. Joining me for this episode, two fine gentlemen that you may be able to see on your screen. No strangers to our regular listeners, Mr. Paul Williams and Mr. Andy Cook. Good evening, fellas. All good?
Guten Tag. Yes, all good. Thank you very much.
So, it's our monthly instalment. But later on in the show, we'll be predicting this year's Royal Rumble. But this time of year is always full of excitement for fans of WWE, but also for fans of the podcast. The Royal Rumble episode is essentially the birthday podcast for Getting Over. And if you listen to this, you're about to embark on the 6th year of Getting Over with us. So thank you very much for tuning in. Whether it's your first time, whether you've been here for all 70 episodes of the wrestling podcast, we thank you very much. If you've not done so already, give us that little birthday present. Click on the subscribe. And the best thing, don't cost you anything. Everybody likes free, right? So yeah, we're all good. Click on the subscribe button, give us a share, or even just tell your mates, or all of those things. Why not? Fill all the boxes. But yeah, that means you won't miss an episode of CookieCast directly to your device of choice, and you'll get all the good stuff, whether it's the football podcast, the NFL podcast list is out, the F1 podcast straight to the apex, or Andy's Darkest Timeline. Just get all over it. You're all good. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Anyway, I have babbled on enough already. I know that you're waiting to find out which one of these gents will be holding the predictions title following the last outing. So we will get right to it. Well, Paul currently holds the gold leading into the episode, seeing as he scraped by on a tiebreak last time around. Will he squeak by a title retention on the same rules this time, or is one of us going to steam in, stomp on his dreams, and disappear off into the sunset? Well, we were predicting Survivor Series. I know that feels like a long time ago now, doesn't it? Because it's been a while. WWE's schedule over Christmas decided to get awfully light because they've now got a boss who understands that their employees might need time off over Christmas with their families. Who would have thought it? Anyway, we were operating a Triple H standard, i.e. 5-match premium live event card last time around with Survivor Series. 5 points to play for. And in last place, conspicuous by his absence on this podcast, Mr. Matthew Moore with 2 out of 5. I mean, it's not great. I mean, I would probably not be on the podcast if I'd scored so badly, and one of you guys would have to take over. So yeah, I'm pleased to say that they're, moving on up in joint second place. We have me. I wasn't last for a change. And the now former predictions champion, Mr. Paul Williams, with a solid 3 out of 5, which is only one better than Matt, so I'm not going to gloat any longer on that one. And that leaves Andy, as I mentioned, to waltz straight in, stomp all over the dreams of Mr. Paul Williams, and claim the gold once again with a 4 out of 5 scoreline. So congratulations, Andy. The one result that let Andy down, in fact, let us all down. Nobody had LA Knight losing the United States title to Shinsuke Nakamura. So definitely down as the shock of the night. But yeah, Survivor Series was quite a while ago now, so we're not going to go into that too much, particularly as we've got lots of news since last time we were here. So unless you've been living under a rock, you will know that Netflix has taken the broadcasting reins. No, not turning Roman into a commentator. WWE is now streamed live and on demand globally via Netflix, aside from if you live in the United States, where some of the domestic TV deals are still sort of working their way through and expiring. But the deal kicked off on January the 6th, and Raw aired live on the streaming service from the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. WWE attempted to pull out all the stops on this occasion, as you'd probably expect. Title matches, title changes, and legend appearances in abundance, as Rhea Ripley took back the women's title from Liv Morgan and celebrated with Donald Trump's favourite dead man, The Undertaker. Other appearances included John Cena, rapper Travis Scott, who is the artist responsible for the new theme, I am somewhat reliably informed, The Rock, and Hulk Hogan also made an appearance. Hogan was there to promote his new beer more than anything else, and for the first time since WrestleMania 35, was booed throughout his entire appearance. Have we watched much of WWE on Netflix since the move, gents? And what do we think, just generally?
I watched the first one, obviously, because I was intrigued, and I think I watched the majority of the second week, and I've just kind of given up since then, really.
Glowing review.
I absolutely dived in. I've only ever borrowed the network in the past for a variety of different occasions. So having it just there, I am currently not a Netflix subscriber. However, somebody else in my house is. So, and I wanted to give the smaller of the children a little taste of the wrestling, at which point they both absolutely, they were just all over it, wanted to watch it, all that. So it's nice having it there. It's nice having that access. It's nice to be able to put it on. However, I can understand Paul's point of, yay, it's there, it's ready to go. We've got it access. We're good. But, there's other stuff going on. So yeah, I keep saying to the kids, like, oh, Royal Rumble this weekend, are we watching? And I get a resounding blank stares of what?
I'm okay with it so far. I don't think it's as easy to use on Netflix as it used to be on the network. It seems to have been like stashed in a bizarre way. Also, as well, I'm still having the same problem of they're still at 3 hours. I haven't got 3 hours. One thing that I did like when it was on TNT, I guess it was, when it on the old BT Sports here, it was quite good that they would play it back on there's like a highlights version almost, where they skimmed it down to a couple of hours rather than the 3. I've not watched one live yet, obviously, because of the time difference. I've done it on streaming, and they seem to still be pausing for ad breaks, which I get, because obviously Netflix does have ads still as well. The good thing about watching it streamed as opposed to live is that Netflix seems to forget that it's supposed to drop adverts into it and just crack straight on, which it almost like pauses for a second as if it's going to do something, and then it just carries on with the show. I like the fact that the presentation's changed to make it different. I like the fact that they've made the ring mat black and put the ads on the mat, so it has that kind of UFC kind of boxing real kind of sort of setup to it. I like the fact that they changed the ref's uniform. Don't bother me at all. I think it's really good. The one thing that they've tried to go a bit overboard with, and I'm pretty sure that Paul is about to agree with this, is the drone cam, which seems to have become a massive fixture of the coverage weekly now. I watch quite a lot of the wrestling when I'm in my garage on a treadmill. Trying to run on a treadmill whilst you've got the drone thing flying around on the screen in front of you and you get the perspective from that. The last time that I was on a boat was November, or every week now that I'm on a treadmill trying to watch the drone cameras. I feel like I'm getting sea legs every time it happens. So yeah, that's the one bit that's not my favourite. But if you're watching it on from a static point of view, I'm guessing it kind of looks quite cool as the camera flies from outside the arena through the front door, down the stairs, around the ring. That's sort of quite a cool idea. I do like that. It's just it's not practical for me. But yeah, I'm okay with it. So I like the fact that NXT comes on pretty much straight away. I think this coming weekend when it's the Royal Rumble will be the big test, because it will be probably their highest amount of like sort of live streams. Like, I imagine there'll be a lot of the UK and outside the United States will be obviously tuning in as a streaming, catch-up service as opposed to a live service. Whereas I'm really hoping that obviously Netflix, being the multi-billion-dollar company that it is, doesn't just have servers that absolutely shit the bed when every man and his dog tunes in on Saturday night.
Well, I'm trying to think. So they've done like a live thing before. It was the Tyson Paul fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm talking about something that people actually watch, Paul.
No, but this is the problem. So everyone was like, "Nah, that's probably going to be wank. I'm not going to bother." But then loads of people did bother, and it absolutely fucked with their server systems of that. So yeah, that would be my main concern, is that have they got the capability, the capacity for that many people to sort of be live streaming it all at once?
Well, moving on slightly, and sort of, but also to tie it in, they have really had an opportunity, like a bit of a drop ball situation in terms of being able to test it, because since we were last on, they've had 2 installments of Saturday night's main event. One of them back in December, one of them actually just last weekend. And I think the January installment initially had been slated to be on Netflix outside of the United States. And it seemed to be like a couple of days before that all of the adverts got pulled. The Netflix logo got removed and replaced by YouTube. So there was obviously something in the deal that hadn't quite expired or whatever. So they ended up going down the YouTube alley for people watching it outside of the US. It's a shame that, because yes, not as many people would probably have watched the Saturday night's main event stuff as will watch the Rumble. But it's their system to test from their own sort of, getting it from the very front end of the WWE cameras all the way live onto somebody's screen, millions of miles away across the world, whatever. It seems like a bit of an opportunity wasted, really. But having said that, the Saturday night's main event stuff that have been on, say the 2 episodes since we were on, 2 huge main events on both of those shows. Real nostalgic feel to it, as you'd expect. Back in December's broadcast, Jesse the Body Ventura even made his return to WWE, which is something that a lot of people thought would never happen. And he took up commentary duties for the night. So I imagine that the people in gorilla position were absolutely shitting themselves for the majority of the time he was on there, in case he said something he maybe shouldn't. That event was headlined by Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE title. But Cody didn't carry that title to the ring. He was using the old school winged eagle title, which was a nice touch. Delight of belt fans around the world, until they realised that when he held it up, it was just a WWE shop replica and not one of the original ones from the from the archives. There was a fantastic thing as well where Triple H made a real big deal of giving him a flight case, and they put this out online before the event. And as he opened the flight case to show what was inside, the camera couldn't see, and there was a big gold glow. People were also speculating it might just be the Stardust suit that was been returned to Cody to use for the night. But unfortunately, it did just turn out to be a shop replica and not his old attire. January's edition, the more recent one, featured Gunther successfully defending the World Heavyweight title against Jey Uso. Rhea Ripley also bested Nia Jax in the defense of her newly regained women's world title. Hulk Hogan, the aforementioned Hulk Hogan, had been scheduled to appear, but apparently something important stopped the appearance. Family commitments was the given reason. Clearly nothing to do with the fact that he was booed out of the building just a week.
I was real disappointed that he was unable to make it. So I was showing my disappointment there. Sorry.
The official reason that was given for him not turning up or sort of being pulled from the listing was his son's wedding. I think he'd have probably known about that a little bit ahead of time. Unless, he's gone to Gretna Green all the way from Florida. I'm not sure that would be legit. Anyway, so yeah, we've had a couple of things on there. Lots of other things have been happening with other titles elsewhere. So Tiffany Stratton has now cashed in her Money in the Bank. It was just before the move to Netflix. Nia Jax had been defending the women's title against Naomi, which she did successfully after Stratton appeared to help Nia Jax by clocking Naomi with the briefcase. Nia Jax pinned, all good. But then during the celebrations, Tiffany Stratton attacked Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Bianca Belair, who'd been down there in the corner of Naomi, then hit Nia Jax with the KOD, an impressive feat in itself. And that allowed Tiffany to cash in. The stopwatch has been started on Tiffy time. Have you seen any of the Tiffany Stratton stuff? Are we on board with her? Are we not on board with her? Where do we stand?
I can't make my mind up on it. So obviously we discussed briefly the utter fiasco that was the women's War Games match at Survivor Series, and shall we say, Ms. Jax didn't exactly come out of that smelling of roses, and I'd be very surprised if that wasn't a large factor in her championship reign coming to an end. Shall we say, potentially prematurely at the hands of the Stratton cash-in. Yeah, I don't know. Like, she looks like she's fairly decent in the ring. She's clearly got charisma, so she can talk on the mic and stuff like that. I just don't know if she's polished enough yet to have had the belt put on her. If that makes sense, I don't know if she needed more time on the main roster. I know she'd been the champion NXT and stuff like that, so she's obviously carried a title for like a period of time and stuff like that. So it's not as if she's going in like as a complete novice when it comes to winning the title. But yeah, I don't know if she maybe like the fact that they've introduced the secondary women's titles for me would have been maybe should she have had a reign with one of those first and then maybe gone after the main women's world title. But I don't know. I think she's probably one of the better people they've trained up from like scratch. So I don't think she had any sort of background in wrestling, did she, before she joined the Performance Center?
I think it's a little bit bizarre in the sense of normally WWE will have latched on to some sort of pop culture phenomenon and try and drain the life out of it into one of their own characters. I don't know if they're aware, but the Barbie movie came out a good couple of years ago now, and this feels a little bit too late. She's got that kind of, obviously she plays the blonde, almost airhead character, and it feels very early 2000s to be to be on the main sort of top of the card now. I get it because there's not been that character for a while, but I'm still not. It's. I take Paul's point of I feel like she needs a bit more polishing. And I know that sometimes they'll say, you know, the wrestler may make the title, but I think in this case they're definitely hoping that the title makes the wrestler. I'm not going to necessarily agree with some of Paul's other comments about Nia Jax, but we'll get to that later on. As Paul did allude to, we do now have women's mid-card champions. So Chelsea Green became the first ever women's US champion for the SmackDown brand, whilst Lyra Valkyria claimed the women's Intercontinental title for Raw. I'm okay with the addition of these titles. I know sometimes it's a little, oh my God, there's another belt, but we've said for years about them balancing up the men's and the women's, and it just feels a bit like this could have happened a lot sooner. If they'd have done it off the back of that wave of the women's main event at WrestleMania years ago, that probably would have been the time. Whereas now they've waited and they've waited and they've waited, and I don't know if these have still just gone a little bit under the radar. In terms of the two women who have won the inaugural titles, Chelsea Green for me is somebody who I could quite easily swap with Tiffany Stratton. I could see Chelsea Green being the actual women's champion as opposed to the US champion. However, she is absolutely making the most of this so far. In her, I don't know if you've seen the celebrations after she won the title, she came out dressed pretty much like the Statue of Liberty to begin with. Is now the point we mentioned that isn't she Canadian as well? So, you know, she's got avenues to go down. I'm impressed with Chelsea. I do like her anyway. And from a personal standpoint, the fact that Lyra Valkyria won the Intercontinental title, been the first holder of that when Paul and myself and Mr. Moore were in attendance for her first ever WWE match that was televised anyway, when she was part of NXT UK, when she made her debut right there in York, England, as it were. So so I was quite happy about that. You guys, thoughts on the new titles?
Yeah, it feels like it's been a fair like time coming. Is it just going back to the Valkyria thing? Has she gone through 2 name changes since we saw it, or just the one?
Just the one, I think, because she was she Aoife?
That was it, Aoife So she was Aoife Valkyria.
Yeah.
And then did she not just go by Valkyria?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, because I was convinced. Sorry, just to sort of take it back. I was convinced she had 2.
Because that would have been very, very close to what's she called?
Tyra Valkyrie.
Yes, that would have been too close.
Tyra Valkyrie,
so,
the woman who's married to John Morrison.
Correct. Who was briefly in WWE as well in NXT for a while.
But she was called something else, wasn't she?
Yeah, but then her name she uses outside, I think, was too close to it. So yeah. I'm happy with it. I thought they would maybe use it as an excuse to redesign some of the titles, but obviously the Intercontinental's only just had a revamp anyway. And let's be fair, fuck knows what they're doing with the United States title after LA Knight had his horribly butchered version of it with a different strap and all sorts of stuff. So I can understand them leaving them alone in the end. If you've not seen them, standard fare, same title, stick a white strap, all good, job's done.
Sorry. Same title, just stick a white strap on?
No, I said stick a white strap on purpose. I knew that you would pick up on that one. It's not that kind of podcast. It's family podcast, Paul. What are you talking about?
Dirty boy.
Disgraceful. I can only apologise for the heathen that sits amongst us, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll swiftly move along, shall we? In other news, WWE 2K25 has just been announced. The cover star this year is going to be Roman Reigns, shock horror, and there's going to be 2 special editions. We've got the Dead Man edition, with The Undertaker, obviously, and he has been the subject of a 2K special edition before, way back in 2013, and the Bloodline edition. Both come with varying amounts of extras. Once again, though, this year, no physical special editions. Both of them are download only, so that means, yet again, no little sort of trinket collectible signed item that possibly comes with it. Yeah, call me old school, but I think that a special edition with just DLC kind of sucks a bit. I'm sure Andy will have views on that as a gaming man himself.
Oh yes, I'm tired of this digital special edition nonsense. Special edition to me has always been like a physical thing you can touch, hold on to, something that you can say, this is worth the extra money. I got out of the special edition market when they were breaking the £150 mark, and what you were getting for that was less than good. But I was very much, if it's got a special edition, it's coming to my house. And yeah, to me, it's the equivalent of you get the game soundtrack. I don't give a shit about the soundtrack as far as you can get it. Honestly, give me a cool item I can stick on a shelf and look at every
now. Yep. Well, just to put it into perspective, they've announced the price of the standard edition, which is going to be around the £70 mark. The previous aforementioned Undertaker special edition back in 2013 was the same price roughly as that, and it came with a hand-signed Undertaker card. The tin that it came in was in the shape of a coffin. It had a DVD of his WrestleMania streak included with it, like a skin for your controller that you could stick on if you so wish, and like a couple of other bits and bats as well. This time, in a game that features over apparently 300 wrestlers, most of the additions are extra wrestlers. The pre-order bonus this time, though, is the Wyatt 6 group as playable characters. So if you're a big fan of Bo Dallas and Dexter Lumis and Nikki Cross and Joe Gacy, then get all over that pre-order and don't wait a month for it to come down a third in price and maybe just pick it up.
That's another thing I don't do with games. I don't think I've pre-ordered a game in 10 years. But I just don't understand the concept of it. I'll pre-order it and get this. A DLC for a game, okay, and 100% of the time, whatever you get as the DLC is beaten within the first hour of the game by something much better. Cool. That sounds definitely worth it.
If you do pre-order it, you get to play it a week before anybody else. And that, again, to me, doesn't really appeal either, because it feels like you're paying to almost get the one-up on other people, which feels...
play. That's a great concept.
But then a lot of these recently as well, we're borderline breaking into a computer games podcast here, but a lot of these in the last few years of the achievements based, or the trophies element of it, have had a lot of win so many matches online. Well, if you do it in the first week, it's loads easier than it is if you've done it when like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, however many more people start loading onto the online servers. So it feels a bit like if you're going to go after all of the achievements or trophies, you're going to have to kind of get it early as well. But anyway, moving on. Last piece of news. I saw it was a big amount of news this time, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is actual breaking news at time of recording. We're approaching the Royal Rumble, as we already noted. That means it's almost WrestleMania season. And with WrestleMania season, we start to get the Hall of Fame announcements. It's been said that just earlier in the day today, a meeting was occurring to set up the weekend's festivities. Triple H leads that meeting. In walks The Undertaker Shawn Michaels, his wife Stephanie McMahon, and Nick Khan to surprise Triple H with the information that he will actually be the headliner for this year's Hall of Fame. So the guy that's currently running the company will be also the headline Hall of Fame act. I am a huge Triple H fan, so from his in-ring career, I am well happy that he's getting his own place. He's not in it as just as part of the X. I did wonder if we might get the old Vinnie Mac treatment and the fact of whilst he's in charge, he wouldn't actually go in. But it seems to be that it's actually a decision that's been taken out of his control. So I'm very happy for him, and I think it's well deserved. So, unless anybody else has got anything else they want to add to the news section, which has been hefty this time around, I think it might be time just to have a little break, just a little tiny break. You guys won't even notice that it's happening. It will be over quicker than a Santino Marella Royal Rumble entrance. And we'll be right back to you with the Royal Rumble predictions for this year. So hold on, and we'll be right back. See, back super fast. If you had started that particular Royal Rumble, Santino would have still been in the ring by the time that we returned, as I said. So we're all good. But we're not here to talk about past Royal Rumbles. We are here to talk about the future Royal Rumble that happens this very weekend, Saturday, the 1st of February, from the Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, home of the Indianapolis Colts. Let's be fair, it's happening in February. Colts Stadium, they probably could have booked it for January still because, nobody would have been using it at that point. But this will be the first premium live event aired globally, as we said, since the move to Netflix. As always, the match card information is taken from WWE.com and is correct at the time of us recording. But as we always say, card is subject to change. And as I mentioned earlier, Triple H likes his standard 5. Oddly, just 4 matches on the docket so far. I can only presume that's because 2 of them are the men's and women's Royal Rumble, which will take a very long time. So the 4 matches in question, the WWE Tag Team titles are on the line. DIY, so Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa defending against the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin in a 2 out of 3 falls match. There is the undisputed WWE title on the line. Cody Rhodes defending once again against Kevin Owens in a ladder match, and the women's and men's Royal Rumble matches. So we will hit them up in that order. Mr. Moore, again, not here for this current episode, but he has done us a solid and stuck some predictions in the basket before we set off, which I have already in the book. So the tag team title match, Johnny Gargano has had a bit of history with the Motor City Machine Guns, but ultimately chose his allegiance with Ciampa over rejoining them. That decision paid off as DIY defeated the Motor City Machine Guns to become the 2-time tag team champions. Since they lost the titles, Shelley and Sabin felt that DIY had been ducking them somewhat, so convinced SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis into booking the 2 out of 3 falls match for this year's Royal Rumble. All of them, the falls, as far as I am aware, are just standard tag match rules. There is no 3 stages of hell element to it, as maybe would have been back in the day. But yeah, nonetheless, a DIY carrying on their title run, or will the Motor City Machine Guns take those titles back? Matt, I will go with his first since he's already in there, has gone for the Motor City Machine Guns. Paul?
No, I've gone for a DIY retention, please.
Okay. Any particular reason for that?
They've only just won them, so taking them back off them again feels a bit hot potato-y.
I did wonder if you'd say that, but like you said, they have been ducking.
Oh, sorry. I think if they were to switch them back again, doesn't make any sense to set up like a 4-way or like a 5-team match at WrestleMania, which probably is going to end up being the case, Whereas if they have a retention due to some nefarious means by outside teams, then you get the possibility of setting up all sorts of matches moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Okie Andy?
Yeah, I'm with Paul. I've got a DIY down for this one.
Okie that gives us a 50-50 split then, which sort of tells you really how the booking's gone. In the respect of both me and Matt have gone for the Motor City Machine Guns, with Andy and Paul with DIY. Difference in opinion right from the off. Now, also as well though, I don't think we need to worry about tiebreak unless there's a random calculation that lands us all on the same amount, because it is the Royal Rumble. Later on, there will be extra points to play for, so we'll get to that. Okay, next one on the card. It seems a bit strange going in for a WWE title match so early into the prediction list. It's the Royal Rumble, so here we are. The undisputed WWE title ladder match between Cody and Kevin. As we talked about earlier, and we did discuss on the last episode, we had confirmed that these two would battle it out at Saturday night's main event back in December. Cody retained, obviously, but after the final bell, Kevin Owens hit the champion with a package pile driver before leaving with that Winged Eagle shock replica title that WWE had brought back allegedly for one night only. Since that point, Kevin Owens has been parading with that title, proclaiming himself to be the real world's champion. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that Kevin Owens has been doing, but in true Kevin Owens fashion, takes it and runs with it. There's been some excellent shithousery in this so far.
I saw that on, was it the latest episode of SmackDown that he had a Cody Sucks Eggs t-shirt on, which I thought was priceless.
Yep. And the one before that, instead of the American Dream, son of a plumber, he had one that said Canadian Dream, son of a software engineer, which I very much enjoyed as well. Sort of taking the piss out of t-shirts that Cody's dad would have worn back in the day. Anyway, with all the shenanigans going on the 27th of December episode, I believe it was SmackDown, Cody laid down the challenge of a ladder match. Both of the titles, so his actual undisputed title and the Winged Eagle, will be suspended above the ring, a la WrestleMania 10 ladder match style. The superstar that retrieves both of the belts will be crowned undisputed WWE champion. It would probably be too easy for me to go straight back in for Matt's again. So should we try that in reverse order this time? I'll go first. So I had Cody to retain. Kevin Owens has had the championship match at Royal Rumble before. The Rumble match, the Rumble title match always seems a bit of a funny time to be changing your champion. It's either they've got to be red hot challenger or just got to get a good match out of the champion. I feel like it's more the latter in this case. So I've gone with...
Is the USA at war with any sort of Persian Gulf nation or is it that?
Well, I mean...
Sergeant Slaughter.
Possibly. They could be at war with anybody, Paul, after the recent changes. Yeah. Could be basically another American, just a bit of infighting. Anyway, we'll move away from that. So, yeah, I've gone for Cody. Andy?
Don't want to be the guy that's like, what exactly are we doing here? But what matches like this, I just don't understand. I get the whole let's put on a show and it's, Royal Rumble is one of the biggest of the year. Out of the four of us, does anybody have Cody down to lose? I don't. It's matches like this that I don't understand. But before I go off on a massive rant and rave, just put me down for a Cody retain and let's move on.
The bit, just to piggyback off that, the bit I don't understand is I'm fine with them having the match. We kind of all have an educated more than guess that Cody's going to retain. Why risk it being a ladder match is my issue, because you need him for the run to WrestleMania. That's the biggest thing I have with it. I'm looking forward to it still. I think it'll be good.
It'll be good, but...
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Paul? Do you want to prove us wrong and randomly
Here he
pick
comes.
Kevin
Here he
Owens?
comes. KO.
He can't, at least he can't shit house his way with a DQ prediction here as well,
No.
based on the match type.
Well, this is it, innit? So normally this is the part of the podcast where I become in with my. Well, actually, I think you'll find that in 17% of all particular WWE Championship matches. No, I too have gone with Cody to retain, but I did see an interesting thing that someone had discussed as a possibility for how you could open things up, in which obviously I don't know if this was covered, but obviously before the Cody Kevin stuff, there was the Kevin Owens Randy Orton stuff, and obviously Mr. Orton hasn't been seen since he was pile driven by Mr. Owens. Is there a possibility that he comes back and he gets involved and tries to help his friend Cody win the match, but unfortunately he just goes to incapacitate Owens, but accidentally pushes him into the ladder when Cody's on the ladder and we have to get a drink.
Well, on the back of that as well, there has been a little bit of they've been teasing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn linking up again, not necessarily as allies, although they aren't currently at odds. On Raw a couple of weeks ago, obviously Sammy's very much in the I disapprove of the way you're doing things kind of groove towards Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens said, "Look, we're not at odds. I'm still your best friend. I was there to help you. Maybe you could be there to help me." So almost trying to entice Sami Zayn to help him win the title, and then, in theory, have him return the favor to try and help Sami win the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn's name is up there amongst the list of people in it. I just feel like it's more likely that we're going to get Sami versus Kevin without a title involved, because it's like All Faithful in it. They'll just go back. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But no, Matt, so just to round out the predictions there, Matt does indeed have Cody Rhodes. So we have a clean sweep of Cody predictions for that particular match. So, yeah, look at the shock on Andy's face. I know he can't believe it. Do you need another break, Andy, or are we all right to carry on?
I'll manage. Just.
What a trooper, powering through. So now the two effectively main events of this particular premium live event, the Royal Rumble matches, I'm guessing by now you'll all know the drill. For the women's one, obviously 30 women enter. One leaves with a guaranteed title match at WrestleMania. Two start, and every 90 seconds a new superstar enters the fight. Eliminations occur when someone's thrown over the top rope and both feet touch the floor. There endeth my audition for subdued ring announcer. So there you go. So far, declared for the Women's Rumble, we have last year's winner, Bayley, followed by Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, and Io Sky. So that leaves a huge list of people to pick from as the other entrants. Now, the way we've done things before on the Royal Rumble predictions is the way we're going to go again. So, gents, I'm going to ask you for both matches, I want a winner, two surprise entrants. So, and we'll deem that as long as I haven't just mentioned their names, we'll give that up. The person who is in the match the longest, and the person who has the most eliminations. And there will be a point at play for every answer to those categories. I have my list. I have Matt's list. We should probably start with the surprise entrance, I think. How do you want to do this? Should we go across the board for the surprise entrance and then work our way up to the winner? Right. Okay. Right. I feel like whenever we do surprise anything, somebody pisses on Andy's cornflakes. So this time, I think we should lead off with a surprise entrance with Andy, just so he can get in there first. So your Women's Royal Rumble 2 surprise entrants, Mr. Cook, will be...
I've got Becky Lynch.
Yep.
And Jade Cargill.
Okay, she might be on the back of an injury still, but she could be there or thereabouts for
That's
at
going to
least
cause me
an appearance.
problems. Let's put it like that.
She, if she's healed quick, she might be able to have a few minutes in there before jumping over the top rope. So it's a possibility, but it's an outside possibility, is what I would say.
Cool.
Paul, do you want to go next?
The sheer look on Andy's face of disgust was priceless. I went a bit back and forth on this one because my first one is a surprise in that they're not listed in the current entrance, but not so much as a surprise as she was in it last year as a surprise. So I've gone with Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
And then my second one I've just changed now because I was going to go with Alexa Bliss, but then there was reports that apparently a contract situation's a bit in the air. So I've changed it. And I'm going to double down on what I think I put for last year. I went for AJ Lee last year, and I'm going to say AJ Lee again this year.
Okay. Matt has agreed with you on one of those. He has also gone for Jordan Grace, obviously former TNA Women's Knockouts champion. Did a little bit of the crossover stuff when they were appearing in NXT. She's very publicly, not in a bad way, but just finished up her time with TNA. And I was also very publicly posted her flight tickets for the weekend to Texas. So not Indianapolis, and definitely not trying to lead people off the scent. Matt has not bought that either, and also gone for Jordan Grace. And his second surprise entrant he's gone for is Tori Wilson, somebody who has filled that spot before. Not to say that she won't do it again, however. My 2 surprise entrants are both NXT wrestlers. I have gone for Roxanne Perez and Julia to make appearances in the Rumble match. Okay, so shall we go for longest time spent in the match? We'll go backwards this time. I have gone straight in there because she's a little bit weaselly. She's got that about her. She's also got people that can help her do the weaseling. I have gone for Liv Morgan for the longest in the match for this one. Matt has gone for straight up athleticism instead and gone for Bianca Belair. Paul?
What's this say? Longest Liv Morgan. Yes, yeah. I too have gone with that. I think she was an outside pick for me to win it, but then I thought she's been in the title match picture for pretty much the entirety of the last sort of 12 months. So probably about time that they went away from it. But I still think they probably want to keep her strong, so have her have a sort of a long period in the Rumble so she doesn't get forgotten. I know she wouldn't get forgotten anyway because she's still within the storylines, but yeah, it kind of made sense for it to me to have like a decent showing.
I have a feeling that they'll drop her into it early and she'll probably make Final 4 for me. That's kind of the way I see her match going. So that leaves Andy to round us out with the longest time spent in the Women's Royal Rumble match.
So the reason that I had issues with previous comments is that I have somebody down to being in the longest and have the most eliminations, and may possibly have been my surprise entrant, as I've got Jade Cargill down for the longest.
Okay. Do you want to make a last minute change to that, or am I sticking that in the book?
No, stick it down.
Do you know what? Fully fit Jade Cargill, I wouldn't have had an issue with. I think that would, like a couple of months back, I think that would have probably been a reasonable shout overall. Well, we might as well just go straight around that corner then. So most eliminations going for her as well?
I am, because I've got her down to break the record.
Oh, okay.
9 eliminations, breaking the record.
Right, I'm going to put 9 in brackets just so we've got that for reference next time. I haven't asked for a number from everybody else just in case.
No,
but
I just thought, go the extra.
Okay, Paul?
I've gone with the approach that Matt had to it. I've gone with Bianca Belair.
Okay. Oddly enough, me and Matt have picked the same person for most eliminations. He hasn't gone for Bianca. I went for this as she is the tag team partner of the person I believe will be in the match the longest, and therefore be helping with weaseling and just general bodyguardery, as it were. So I have gone for Raquel Rodriguez to have the most eliminations, as has Matthew. So that leads us on to the main picture, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble match. Matt is not here, so therefore I can say this and not get in trouble. And we're going to go back to why I wasn't buying everything Paul said earlier. I am going for Nia Jax to win the Women's Royal Rumble. There are reasons for this. So at the moment we have, since the Raw Netflix thingy, we've got a bit of a transfer window going on. Nia Jax hasn't officially signed with Raw. She is still on SmackDown, but has been appearing as part of the transfer window shenanigans and has got into it with Rhea Ripley numerous times in a very short space. Since the program's been on the streaming service. Whether we like her or not, she's appearing. I can't remember the last time they had a women's Royal Rumble winner that then didn't win the title.
Absolutely.
And well, this for me is where she fits in here. I think that she poses the good look at her. She's a bad guy kind of role, but ultimately will come up short at WrestleMania. But I have gone for Nia Jax, and somewhere in the northeastern distance, Mr. Matthew Moore is screaming into the night sky. Matt, however, I would suggest has gone super Route 1 and has just taken that ball, punted it right down the middle of the field, and has written down Charlotte Flair. Paul?
This was the toughest one for me to call, personally. Up until today, I legitimately, you could have just given me a dart and a dartboard with every single woman that's in the company's name on it, and I'd have happily just gone with that, and that could have been my winner. Because I don't see the way that they've told the story so far. I don't see a definitive sort of like standout person as the sort of the favorite. Like last year, the Bailey thing sort of made sense. In most years, the person who wins it has kind of been like foreshadowed for it. I don't think they've done that this year, so I've just gone with Becky Lynch because I think that it's a good way to bring her back, give her like a sort of a decent first night back showing, and she doesn't need the win. So if you wanted to put her in there against Rhea, you know what you're getting. If you wanted to put her in there against Tiffany to see what Tiffany's got to sort of like bring to the table, you can, and stuff like that, and she'll get a good performance out of her, etc., etc.
Okay. Okay, all good. So that leaves Andy to round out the Women's Rumble predictions. Who is your winner, Andy?
I've got Matt's winner being eliminated finally by my winner, Bianca Belair.
Okay.
It's Bianca's time. 2025, baby. It's all about Bianca Belair.
All good. Okay, so that is the Women's Rumble match done. I would suggest that the women's match will probably open the show, I bet, as well. Seems a safe bet of late. Okay, so on to the men's rumble. Obviously, the same rules apply for the men's match, and declared for the men's rumble so far are 16-time world champion John Cena entering his final rumble match, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, the United States Champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, Jey Uso, Penta, Bron Breakker, Chad Gable, and Rey Mysterio. So any of those wrestlers I haven't named, I'm quite happy to drop into your surprise entrance slot. So, shall we do it again? We'll go with the surprise entrance. First up, I'm gonna go with Matt's because Matt's probably make more sense than mine, certainly. Matt's two surprise entrants are Pat McAfee, and he did send a little like pukey emoji after he sent this name, but Bad Bunny was his second one. I seem to recall there was some business about to happen with him and the company in the not too distant future in terms of a pay-per-view. So that would probably make some sense, which I'd forgotten about until I saw Matt's message come through. My surprise entrance. Now, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube and you've seen us before and we've talked about all these different things that we like and don't like on the wrestling podcast, what I'd like you to do for me right now is focus your vision to the face of the head honcho of CookieCast as I tell you that one of my surprise entrants for the Royal Rumble will be none other than Jake Paul.
I honestly thought when you said that Matt's prediction had come with a vomiting emoji, I thought that's what you were about to say.
Yep, I was completely convinced as well. That's where we were going.
He definitely toyed with it. He also told me that as well. My other one, I think that's a bit Route One, possibly because of the whole announcement of the fight with the brothers and all the rest of it. It seems good business. The only bit that throws it into doubt is that fight is scheduled to take place on a channel owned by the AEW side of things. So we'll see. My other one is a little bit left field because he's very old now. But apparently has been pitching himself for this, possibly as the last time that he could maybe get away with it. And he's the winner of a Royal Rumble match previously, the winner of the first ever Royal Rumble, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You can't say that wouldn't get a pop, and it would be hilarious. And he's still going at independent shows, so he can still do a little bit. So yeah, I know that's a bit of a strange one, but I couldn't resist when I'd read that report. I was like, oh, do you know what? I'd love to see it. He's never going to win, but it'd be good crack with it. So, okay, so Paul, do you want to give us yours?
Yeah. So in line with the recent announcement of the working agreement between TNA and WWE. For the pop alone and the sing along, I've gone with Joe Hendry, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And then I've also gone for another person who is a newly minted world champion, as it were. I've gone for Obafemi.
Okay. I like him. Big dude. Okay, so yeah, I realised when I started giving Matt's predictions that I'd messed up by not letting Andy go first, and those suspicions were indeed confirmed by the reaction to Paul's surprise entrance. So, am I to put down Scotland's own as your first surprise entrant?
No, I may have used as what in my head is some kind of loophole to pick Jeff and Matt Hardy to make a triumphant return to the WWE.
Cool. That's a good double whammy, and that would get a good reaction. So cool, that's good. They're in. Right. Okay, so we went longest next, I believe. So we'll go back down the line again. So then, Andy, the longest time spent in this year's men's Rumble match, who's going to have it?
Bron Breakker.
I nearly went for him. Nearly went for him myself. Paul?
His longest or most eliminations?
Longest.
It's both in my book.
Oh, nice. I've gone with Chad Gable. I think this could be this. Obviously, I think was it earlier in the year he did "This is the year that I win a singles title." I don't think he'll win this. I don't think he'll be in the final four for this. But I do think there's a possibility he comes in like numbers like 1 to 4, and he's there until the late 20s, possibly until everybody else is in.
Problem will be with him is that the current thing that they've got going is that he can't beat a luchador, so he will be in until Rey Mysterio and Penta are in, and something will happen between those three. So okay, longest Chad Gable. Matt has gone for the longest being Jey Uso, which I can see after the year that he's had. I think that's a decent shout. My problem with this prediction is that I can never, if you need somebody that's going to stack up the match, that's going to hold it together, it's going to weave all of the little threads all the way through from start to finish, I can never get past Seth Rollins. So the longest one for me is Rollins. Okay, spinning it back down the line, I'm afraid I'm probably about to annoy Andy once again. My most eliminations prediction is Bron Breakker. I can see that coming. Matt has gone Thor, and this is a right shout because this guy is kind of not under the radar, but enough that you kind of forget that he's there, and then he explodes every single time. Jacob Fatu, and I think that's a right shout. Paul had his hand. Are you going Bron Breakker as well?
Yeah, I am, and I'll stick with it. But the Jacob Fatu pick is an absolute shout.
Yeah,
because everyone absolutely fucking loves him as well.
Yeah.
And give it a year, that guy's going to be fucking huge.
when the text came through with Matt's predictions on, and I read that, I was like, oh, bastard. You know, when you're like, like that was like right there, and I went the other way instead.
He's another like. There's a possibility as well where if they wanted to, they could tell the story where like Solo comes out as number 1 or 2, someone else comes out as 2, send Fatu in as 3, and just have them two just run through the next 10 people or whatever.
I think they'll use this match to set something up with the new bloodline, because obviously everything's kind of done now, isn't it, bloodline wise? So okay, right. Andy, you were Bron Breakker for definite still?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So that leads us just to the winners. Seeing as I've let people step on his toes, let's give Andy the lead off on this one to give us his 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner.
I don't know how comfortable I am saying this, but I think John Cena will be eliminated by CM Punk.
Oh, okie dokie. That's in the book. Paul?
I too have gone for CM Punk to win. Second last year, first this year for me.
Okay. Matt has gone for Roman Reigns. And I too have gone for CM Punk. I think the whole thing about him being in cahoots with Heyman for the appearance on Team Bloodline at the Survivor Series has got to make a reappearance at some point. They're currently technically on different shows, I believe, so therefore this is the time that they're together, and Punk can cash in one of those favours. Punk winning makes a lot of sense to me. Punk versus Cody, though, or Punk versus Gunther, I can see neither of those, and I think there might be a title change coming. Andy, just to back up your thing very quickly before we wrap this up, John Cena won't win the Royal Rumble. you're damn right, because this is his last year. It's his last Rumble. It's his last Elimination Chamber. It's his last Money in the Bank. If he wins the Rumble, he doesn't really need to be at Elimination Chamber, does he? If he wins the Rumble and then wins the title at Mania, doesn't really need to be in Money in the Bank, does he? So I think it'll be a case of Cena will definitely be Final Four. I have a feeling by the end of the year that he will have got that 17th world title, but it'll be a year of near misses up until that point for me. So we'll see. Yeah, exactly that. So that is it. All of the predictions are locked and loaded. Everything is in the book. Has anybody got any other business for this episode of Getting Over?
No.
All good. Okay, so it's that time. It's almost Christmas Eve in the WWE. Enjoy Saturday. If you're staying up to watch it, get the snacks in. You're going to need them. It's a midnight kickoff in the UK, so it's not the latest one we've ever had. I think I'm going to be staying up, so I'm very much looking forward to it. So, with that being said, have a cracking weekend, enjoy the Rumble, and we will see you next time right here on Getting Over on CookieCast.
So there you go, what do you think to that? Another one done, another one gone, another premium live event in the bag, if you like. It's a pay-per-view. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and yeah, if you want to get in on the action, send us your predictions. If you send us your predictions, we will send you a wrestling-related gift. If you send us your predictions and you beat us, we will send you 2 wrestling-related gifts. What more could you want? Prizes, prizes, prizes. Big thank you for watching, big thank you for listening, big thank you for being here. Before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button. And that way you can get in touch with us. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then.
How awesome is that? So awesome. You gotta like, share and subscribe.